All right, we're back on Smackdown. I'm Darrell Scott. Got my sidekick bobblehead laying in the cut and my road dog James Davis riding shotgun. We have a special guest with us today, but before I introduce them, we're going to roll this. We have as our special guest right here on Smackdown. She's a governor and a cowgirl from the great state of South Dakota. My friend, Governor Kristi Noem. Good to see you, young lady.
Oh, my goodness. It's so great to be with you. Thank you so much for highlighting our Buffalo Roundup. That is a day that reminds us of what America is all about, freedom. So thank you. You got to come sometime. I'll get you a horse.
Yeah, okay. I rode a horse one time in my life. It was the scariest thing that ever happened to me. I was holding on for dear life. I'm a city boy. I grew up in the hood, came up in the streets. A horse?
Oh, you're probably well prepared then for a few buffalo chasing you then. You're probably nimble and quick.
Hey, tell us a little bit about that Buffalo Roundup, though. I mean, come on now. You're out there, you're roping. What are you doing? You're out there riding, governor roping, riding, rounding up buffaloes?
We are. We have a Custer State Park. It's our crown jewel of our state park system here in South Dakota, and it maintains the original buffalo herd of the United States of America, in fact, North America. So those genetics are the original genetics of bison in this country, and so we maintain that herd. We round them up once a year. We auction off some of the good breeding stock to other herds around the world, and that funds the running of the state park. So it's a special day. We broke a record, in fact, of the amount of people that came this year. We had over 23,000 people come and watch the roundup. And boy, for me, it's one of the most special days of being governor because so many people are together and we're embracing our Western heritage, and I get to do what I love most, and that's riding horse and spending time with my family.
Well, I was just about to say, how do you know how to do that? I mean, how do you even know how to go round up a buffalo?
Well, I learned real quick. You learn real quick. Buffalo are different than cattle. They chase you back. So as soon as a buffalo, as soon as their tail goes in the air, you know they're whipping around and coming right back after you. And they can run faster than a horse. So you make sure that you're ready to hightail it behind some kind of protection if they're coming back at you.
I know that's right, James.
You know, your state is often thrown around in conversations because you use the word, this is an example of freedom, so to speak, with the buffalo. And your state is often brought up as a state to escape to from a lot of the things that are going on in our country right now. And I guess the question is twofold, because sometimes you'll move to a place like the Dakotas, and then you go and run for vice president or president because it seems like everybody throws your name in that hat and that ring as well. Do you have higher political aspirations? And talk a little bit about, again, people that are expatting from some of these blue states into your state.
Well, number one, our state is one of the fastest growing states in the country. When I became governor, I had campaigned on growing our state because, frankly, for the last 10 to 15 years before then, it was dying. People were moving out, our economy was going down, businesses weren't successful, and I campaigned on growing our state and embracing freedom and family. And we have done that. When the COVID pandemic hit this country, in fact, all governors shut down their states. We were the only state that never closed a single business, never mandated anything. In fact, we put up commercials inviting people to come spend time in South Dakota. When the rest of the world was shut down, we said, come visit us because life is normal. So because of that, our state is growing. Incomes are going up here. Our economy is doing better than ever before. Tens of thousands of people are moving here, and they're moving here because they want to be like us. I think that what conservatives believe, what Republicans have always stood for, is exactly what we did. All we did is implement what we say we believe, and we've proven that it works. So I think that's why people talk about me running for higher office, is because I'm not a dummy, and I did what Republicans believe, and it worked, and that scares the Socialist Democratic Party that we have today. They recognize that we actually had the guts to hang in there and embrace our Constitution when every other governor caved and gave up on it, and that scares them that we might be able to have more influence over the rest of this country.
And to be honest, you put South Dakota on the map. I wasn't thinking about South Dakota. Most of Americans, in the Midwest and the East and down in the South, weren't thinking about South Dakota. But now you've done such a great job that you've basically put that state on the map. Now, you've been outspoken about this border crisis, and recently you sent assistance to Greg Abbott, governor of Texas. He needed help in trying to manage that border crisis, and you sent the National Guard down from South Dakota to be a help to him. Give me your take on that.
Well, we were the first state in the country to send National Guard to the southern border to help out 2 years ago. And since then, now we just deployed another group of soldiers that went down and helped out and have just returned back to South Dakota. I think it's devastating what's happening at our southern border. This is on purpose. President Biden is trying to destroy our country by allowing this type of an invasion to happen. And when Greg Abbott asked for help 2 years ago, South Dakota was the first state to respond. We recognize that if we aren't a country of laws, then we stand for nothing, that we are dealing with the effects of this illegal immigration, the effects of drugs and human trafficking. Here in South Dakota, I have the cartel now set up on my Native American tribes and reservations. We're dealing with this violence every single day, and it's a part of not just South Dakota's security, but also our national security, that we deal with this and that we do it aggressively. So I appreciate governors across the country stepping up. But overwhelmingly, even every one of my soldiers that was down there says, listen, the only fix to this comes out of the White House. We can do what we can do, but until we have rules of engagement that actually turn people around and prevent them from coming into this country, it's not going to be as effective as the president deciding he actually loves this country and wants to shut down that border.
You're absolutely right. I see that today. Residents in Chicago filed a lawsuit because the immigrants have overflooded Chicago so much that they feel like the residents are being disenfranchised now. Listen, I said it over a year ago. I was public about it. I don't know if you heard it or not, but I've never been bashful about saying from the very beginning when President Trump announced that he was going to run again, I put my thinking cap on to ask myself who I thought would be a great potential vice presidential running mate, and your name kept coming up. And so I'm not trying to put you on the spot right now, but is there something you would at least consider if it was brought to you, being President Trump's running mate for vice president?
Well, he's never talked to me about it. We've never had that conversation. I know that he has, and many people have suggested quite a few different people. So, but I think every single American, if they were asked, they need to consider it because we are quickly seeing a denigration of our country in a way that we've never seen before. This is unprecedented times. And if someone can step up and make some tough decisions that are necessary to put us back on track to not just secure our border, but to make strong national security policy that actually brings peace throughout the world because of a strong United States, and then continue to protect citizens, make sure they have economic freedom, make sure we put them first instead of other agendas that may come in for power. I think that every American that cares about those things needs to consider doing more than they've ever done before. So I appreciate all your kindness and support. I am incredibly focused here in South Dakota, but I'll do all I can to protect this country.
I know that's right. Well, I'm going to ask you one last thing, James, before you do, but what's your thoughts on Speaker Trump?
Well, I got a bigger job in mind for him.
That's the trend right now, Speaker Trump.
It is. I think he's got a bigger job coming his direction. So, boy, that House of Representatives is a disaster. And the institution of Congress saw a very dark, dark day this week. I'm hopeful that they use it as a time to refocus, remember their job, and to figure out how they can implement the reforms that really need to be done in order to put us back on track. They've been a little wishy-washy and all over the place and fighting with themselves more than fighting against the people that are trying to destroy America.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But, it is what it is. We're strong-minded enough that we can agree to disagree. which I guess that's what they're doing there, and we'll see what comes out of this. James, real quick.
Yeah, if you were put in that position, again, our country is going in such a disastrous way, what would be the first thing? Is it the border? Is it the economy? Is it drilling? Because energy prices are going back up. Inflation is, absurd, 12 rate hikes in the last couple of years. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things on the table, and so it takes a strong leader. I'm just wondering, in your mind, what would be first?
Yeah, the order of priority.
Yeah.
Well, you mean as far as in the White House, or if I was Speaker of the House?
Yeah, what would be the first thing you would tackle?
Yeah, if you were called.
If you were called and you were indeed in the White House with the president, what would be the first thing you would tackle?
It has to be national security. I would absolutely, the first action would need to be to secure the border, and then send a clear message that America's back. We're stronger than ever, and that everybody in this world needs to be prepared for the fact that we will be putting America first again. And then start bringing the people of this country some relief from inflation, open up our energy supply again, drive down their costs so they can use more of their own money to take care of their families. Stop thinking the government is the answer to everything. Let people have personal freedom. That's what we did. We used personal responsibility throughout the COVID pandemic, and that's why people here not only are doing better economically, they're also happier. Listen, when the rest of the country is dealing with increased mental health, suicide challenges, drug overdoses, South Dakota's numbers went down. We saw less drug overdoses in our state than anywhere else. Our mental health and suicide numbers are down, and that's because people do better and are more successful emotionally, physically, and spiritually when they get to embrace freedom.
Well, thank you very much. That was profound, and I really appreciate you coming on with us. Got to get you back again, but thank you for your time. Governor Kristi Noem, great state of South Dakota.
Yeah. Be strong. Thank you.
All right, we'll be back.